Okay, hello. So this is my very beloved sister, Liset. And she has been a Christian all her life, but she didn't always hear the voice of the Father. She knew a lot about the Bible and a lot about Christianity, but it was a while yet before she really stepped into having a relationship with Yeshua.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. I was all my life a Christian, but I think maybe 10, 15 years ago, I met a lady in the church, and we became friends, and she was actually the first one, I think, that that really heard the voice of the Father, that really understood the voice of the Father, and she. I had the privilege to learn from her and to see her, to pray with her, and so I could learn to recognize the voice of the Father too. And this took us some years. We were a lot of years together, and in the first time, I depended on her voice of the Father. So when we made a decision together, it was more her hearing the voice of the Father, and I trusted in that. And it was good for me to learn. But later on, the Father also wanted me to have to understand the voice of the Father in me, and that was actually the time that the Father, separated us a little bit, because we needed to be apart. But it was a good time.
Do you feel like you came to rely on her voice?
Yes.
Yeah?
And that was the period that the Father said, and now I want you to learn for yourself. So I began to recognize in my heart that there was this perfect peace. I call it shalom. It's a Hebrew word, but it means peace, but actually more than peace. It means like wholeness, health, perfect, everything that could be in perfect order. Yeah. And
So more full than just peace.
more full than just peace. Like if you would be not in peace about something, about a circumstance, you can even feel in peace. You can even feel this shalom, and this goes over the trouble that you have.
Yes. I experienced that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when I get to recognize this, I learned that this is the Father in me telling me something, telling me that I'm on the right way. And if there comes a decision I have to make, and I feel not this peace is going away, then it could be different things. It could be because I'm in fear, I'm in sin, actually, I'm not trusting the Father, or it could be that the decision I would want to make is not right. So this is a process of learning.
That's already a good indicator when you can be aware of that, so that the peace is going away.
Yeah.
So you begin to pay attention.
Yes,
to the
and
circumstances.
yes, and when I feel this shalom is going away, this peace, then I have to go in prayer and ask the Father, is it something in me, or is it something that I'm not right? Yes, and this is one of the big things of learning to get to know the Father's voice.
Yeah.
Some people might even have a real voice, hearing the Father. I don't have that. I never had the experience of hearing a real voice, but I do have experience in this way, and I call it the voice of the Father. But
So it's peace. Yeah.
It's peace.
Yeah.
And there is another way. When you're talking about a subject or something that the Father gives you, sometimes you have such a deep knowing, even more than you would then you know something with your mind. If I can tell 1 and 1 is 2, and that I know with my mind, but sometimes there is something that you know even deeper than that.
Yes.
And this is what I also what I learned to recognize as the Father wanting to put His truth in you.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's even not just with the mind. It's with the.
It's above the mind. I think. Yeah. And then you have. Sometimes I have when I read the Bible and I'm. For example, I'm in a situation which is hard. Sometimes I get Bible verses. You know, you can read the Bible and read it, and it just tells about the words, a story.
Yeah.
And there are times, and it's not so often, but sometimes you have this deep knowing that the Father is telling you something, making you aware of something. And this, then I understand the Father is having this Bible verse, this Bible text is now for me, and I can really rely that the Father, the promises that He gives there, or something that is in this text, is for me in this case very true.
Yeah.
I can rely on it.
It's like you taking it into your heart.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then another way of learning how the Father speaks is through life, through experiences that happen. Like, for example, we lost a baby goat.
Yeah, I was just gonna say.
And it was telling a story about another family that we needed in our group. So then there sometimes is happening something in life or you see something in life, and you just know, this is the Father telling me something. And then I'm going into prayer. I'm like, Father, what do you want to tell me?
Yes.
And then he can give you a word, or he can give you idea, or sometimes it just he just gives the answer about the situation.
Through the circumstance.
Through the circumstances, he tells us something.
Yes.
This, I think now is always to not a thing on itself. It is a thing that confirms something that you already know, or something that you pray about. It's mostly not a thing on its own.
Yeah, like a very personal teaching that fits together
with the circumstances, that learns you something about what you're in at that moment.
Yes.
Yeah,
I understand.
And then what I learned from you actually, is that I didn't know that, but also people that have not Yeshua yet, non-believers, can hear the voice of God.
Oh yeah.
And this I didn't know. It was new for me. You were the first one actually to tell me this.
Yeah.
But it's true. Also, non-believers can hear the voice of God, and I think it has to always bring them to Yeshua, to God. And
that
it
was
doesn't.
My experience.
And maybe it doesn't always, or it takes doesn't always do that, or it takes time. But He speaks also through non-believers.
Yeah. It's like the goat that got away. The Father wanted her to pray that the sheep, the goat comes back into the fold, and I think that's how He is with us too. So that's what I realized. So from my own experience, so I was hearing the voice of the Father, but He was leading me into the pen. So the Good Shepherd had his crook around my neck, and he was bringing me into the sheepfold. So I was hearing His voice nudging me all along. Okay, do this, go that way, don't do that. And then eventually I came to that point where I could receive the gospel. So yeah.
And sometimes it takes time.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah, it takes time.
what
It
it
took a long
takes,
time
what
for
it
me.
takes to
Yeah.
hear the voice of the Father is
Yeah.
not like, oh, you pray and you have the voice. No,
No.
it also takes obedience.
Yeah.
And if we hear something from the Father and we don't obey, yeah, He will try it again and again and again.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
it's easier when you obey the first time, because then He can give you a greater responsibility.
Yes.
He can give you a greater insight, and He can speak more to you because you understand and you want to obey Him. So if we go in His ways and learn from Him and go on with Him, then we are.
Yeah.
He can use
Yeah.
us better.
That's
Just
right.
like a child.
Yeah, I must say I do experience that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just like a child when you have children
Yeah.
and one is not obeying. You give him less responsibilities than the child that does obey, because you know that's
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
he can handle more.
Yeah. So it's not like you don't love them or you put them away or anything, but you just
You can give them
yeah,
more.
Yeah,
more,
you can give them more
and,
if,
and you
if
can
you know,
learn them more.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, I'm interested in the woman who you could say kind of. You wouldn't say she taught you how to hear the voice of God, or would you? But you learned from her how to hear. Was that just by following her example? And how long did this take? And
how long does this take?
Yeah.
I think it took me years.
Okay.
For our relationship with her took a few years, and then after that we separated. Well, I came to live in Portugal, and so we had other paths, but still this day I'm learning.
Yes.
So maybe I'm not so quick in this, but for me it took years to learn to recognize it. And still I'm learning more and new things and how to recognize this.
Yeah. What I find, I just want to say, just what I find a blessing, especially with her, is that we can share these findings with each other, and maybe that's what you had with this lady, because she shared with you her experience of following the voice of the Father, and then that enabled you to see how the Father was speaking to you. And so therefore when we share how the Father speaks to us personally, and then it's a blessing. You get confirmation sometimes, confirmation that okay, he's maybe speaking different things, but it is him.
Yeah.
And he usually
and
brings us into unity as well.
And he does it the same way. I have another example of a lady, and she told me the 3 things that need to be in line with if it's really from the Father, because I mean there is also you have the voice of the Father, but you have also other voices. There are you can say the voice of your own flesh maybe, but also I think there are demons who speak into your thoughts also. And we have to learn to recognize what is from the Father and what is not. And she taught me three things. Everything that the Father tells you is always in accordance with the Bible. Yeah. And it always brings honor to Him. So this is one of the things. And then about the shalom, I told you before about the peace in your heart. It needs to give peace, rest in you. And the other thing is that, I mean, the Father can tell you to go. Weird example maybe, but to go on the bike to the city. Well, if you don't have a bike and you can find no bike anywhere, you should maybe think that it might not be from the Father. So the circumstances must be also right. And if the circumstances are not right, He can make the circumstances right. We don't have to do that. It's just like Abraham. Abraham was told he was getting a son. He thought, well, I'm going to do that. I take my maidservant and I make her my wife, and then I have a child. No, God will provide the circumstances to be right.
Even when it seems impossible.
Even when it seems impossible.
Yeah.
So if the circumstances are not
Yeah.
right, okay, just wait some longer until they are right, or
Yeah.
maybe
Yeah.
forget it, or maybe just pray about it.
Yeah.
Pray, Father, if you think this is I need to do, then
Mm.
please give me the circumstances.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I learned from
Mm.
a sister. Yeah, sometimes when there is when you can't hear the voice of the Father, it could be that there is sin or pride or something that or anger or something in your life that you can't hear the voice of the Father. Sometimes when I would make a decision about one of my children, for example, I had to really find out, Father, what do you want me to do with them?
Mm-hmm.
Then I was sometimes afraid in me that if I would go that way with the children,
Mm-hmm.
it would not benefit them. But that was my fear. So if I could let go of my fear, then I knew, this is what the Father wants.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I was not able to hear this
Mm-hmm.
before before because I had still that fear.
Mm-hmm.
But if I let go of my fear,
Yes,
my
yeah.
worries,
Mm-hmm.
my anger,
Mm-hmm.
my pride,
Mm-hmm.
these things, then I can hear the voice of the Father.
Yeah. So give all of that to the Father, and then he can work.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's not that the Father speaks to me daily in these the more I hear, the more I hear him. The more I obey, the more I hear him.
Mm-hmm.
But in the beginning, it was just once in a big time. So
Yeah.
don't expect the Father to speak to you every moment.
Mm-hmm.
It's His grace that He speaks to us.
Yeah.
We don't
It's a privilege.
It's a privilege, and we never expect Him to speak to us. He doesn't need to. He's sovereign.
Yeah.
He's a sovereign God. He, you know, everything He does in our lives is grace. So even if He gives us breath, it's grace.
Yes, yes.
So don't be angry or disappointed if He doesn't speak. Be joyful and praise Him.
Yeah. Very good.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just wondered if we might need to say something else about these other voices, just maybe that people don't fall in, have you ever experienced following what you thought was the voice of God but wasn't? Have you ever...
I think, because sometimes you try to find and you think, maybe this is right. This is also part of the learning process.
Yeah.
I think it's not bad to fall into something that you think is the voice of God if you do it with your true heart.
Yeah.
Because if you do this with your true heart and you follow Him and you really think and you prayed and you really think this is the voice of the Father, He will get you back on track.
Yeah. It's good. It's very wonderful to have that trust.
Yeah, and it's just a learning process, so you can make mistakes.
Yes, it's okay. It's okay to make a mistake.
Yeah.
He's not going to cast you out if you make a mistake.
No.
Yeah, very good.
Yeah, I think that's what the Father learns me through His grace, and I hope to learn much more. So if there's people that
to keep going.
have more to add to this, please do. I can learn from you too.
Yeah, please share any of your experiences of learning to walk with the Father and hear the Father's voice, and we can learn together and bless each other and encourage each other. Yeah, so God bless.
God bless.
Shalom.
Shalom.